someone you can't mock. I'm a problem. Unguardable, can't block. I'm a problem. Untamable, can't lock. I'm something you can't stop. I'm someone you can't top. I'm a problem. I'm someone you can't beat. I'm a problem. Stay working, I don't sleep. I'm a problem. Who doing it like me? I'm someone you can't see. I'm something you can't be. I'm a problem.
Third down and 4. Wilson to the end zone, and it's intercepted by Gilmore. Oh, man. I mean, this is one of those, you got to be kidding me. Intended for...
Well, it wasn't pretty. It was not fun. And that late interception right in the end zone, that kind of sums up the whole game.
It was just another, I guess, really, you could say a terrible night for the Broncos. They lost against the Colts at home in overtime, 12-9 at Empower Field at Mile High.
All right, thank you for joining us and watching this special post-game edition of Denver 7 News tonight. I'm Shannon Ogden.
I'm Ann Trujillo along with Lionel Bienvenu. Russell Wilson was supposed to be the key to returning the team to prominence, but after tonight, the Broncos staff is going to have to take a long, hard look at the offense.
So we have our eyes on the post-game podium right now. I promise we will bring you live press conference as soon as they happen.
And of course, we have team coverage for you tonight. CB Cotton has reaction from fans outside Empower Field at Mile High. Broncos insider Troy Renck and Nick Rothschild, they have analysis on the field, and boy, is there plenty to analyze tonight.
All right, of course, we're going to begin with our sports director, Lionel Bienvenu, and that's all we can say.
Terrible.
I can't remember it being this bad, guys, even with Fangio and Vance Joseph and the 11 and 12 quarterbacks before this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a game this ugly in years since Peyton Manning left. I don't have any words for it. This was the worst offense in the NFL in scoring. The Colts at number 32 against the Broncos at number 30. Could you tell they were bad offenses? No touchdowns were scored. I mean, the two teams combined for 0 touchdowns. Broncos fans were booing again. Social media was a volcano of discontent. How bad the game was, how bad Russell Wilson is, how bad the entire team is. Words like embarrassing were tossed out there. Fans were leaving before they went to overtime. The game was tied, and Broncos country said, I've seen enough. I'm out of here. That's how bad it was. They lost in overtime to the Colts. Russell Wilson was awful, and there's not much to say except tomorrow's going to be very interesting in Broncos country. The first half was all defense. Matt Ryan was like a sitting duck. Bradley Chubb got to the Colts quarterback. Broncos had 4 sacks in the first half. Then in the second quarter, Phillip Lindsay got in the game with Colts running back Nyheim Hines injured. Phillip had 34 yards rushing in the first half. Good night for his family and his little boy. He's clapping for daddy right there. Not a whole lot of big plays in the first half. Broncos got 1 turnover. Caden Stearns picked off Matt Ryan, but the offense could not cash it in. The Broncos were leading 6-3 at the half. And we'll have those second half highlights for you coming up a little bit later. But they lost in overtime, 12-9, as Matt Ryan, led a game-winning field goal drive, and Russell Wilson suffered 2 picks with no touchdowns. Let's go live now on Empower Field at Mile High. Sports anchor Nick Rothschild and Broncos insider Troy Renck are there. Guys, we talked about how the Broncos could build on Russell Wilson's performance last week, his best performance. He came out and looked as bad as I've ever seen him. What has happened to this team?
Well, Lionel, we'll try to create some answers for you over the next hour or so. But first off, Troy, I feel the need to just apologize to the viewers. I know we didn't play, we didn't really even run this broadcast, but the fact that you had to watch that on our air, I feel bad. I was here and I didn't even want to watch it. Where do we begin?
Well, listen, it burns the retinas. It was that awful. Both teams stunk offensively. What was most shocking is they were in position, as ugly as it was, to win the game. Very like that Texans game we saw a few weeks ago. And then Russell Wilson made 2 of the most facepalm throws he's made in recent years. The one to KJ Hamler, throws it up for grabs. They were in field goal range there. And then, Nick, they're driving near the 2-minute warning. 3rd and 4, inexplicably, he tries to get a pass to Tyree Cleveland. It's an errant pass. It gets picked. That's what allows them to go to over. It just makes no sense. It's just illogical. Then you get to the 4th and 1, season on the line, Nick. And what do? They go out of the shotgun, which has not worked once in the red zone all year, and yet they do it again. It just defies logic. It really does. They deserve this loss, and there needs to be some consequences. They need not only self-scout, but Nathaniel Hackett has to look himself in the mirror, and so does Russell Wilson, because this is one of the worst games he's played in his career.
Okay, you hit on something there, Troy, the Nathaniel Hackett of it all. Once again, in the red zone, 3rd and 4, heading towards a 2-minute warning with no timeouts for the Colts, you call a pass. In the first place, you're in field goal range to go up by 6 points at that point. The decision making, again, in overtime, in the red zone, you run out of the shotgun in 4th and 1. We hired Jerry Rosburg ostensibly to help with this kind of stuff, and yet you just lost a game that you, by rights, should not have lost because of some of that decision making.
Well, and that's what's weird is because the night they lost in Seattle when they chose to kick a 64-yard field goal, that was all on Hackett. Believe in the players, confidence in the players. And yet tonight was a game where, as a coach, you have to put your stamp on and say, listen, we're not going to put the ball in harm's way here. What gave you any belief the Colts could drive the field and score a touchdown if they had just kicked a field goal there and gone up 12-6 late? Who's doing the math? Get Will Hunting in the booth up there. Forget Rosburg. Somebody to do the math. They were not scoring a touchdown drive. The Colts weren't tonight. It just defies logic. They deserve this consequence. You deserve what you earned. They earned this.
Now, we're going to hear from Nathaniel Hackett and the rest of the Broncos here soon, but Lionel, sounds like we came up with one answer. Start with getting these guys a calculator, and we'll go from there.
All right, thanks, guys. Again, as bad a loss as I've seen since Peyton Manning retired from here. Russell Wilson is awful, was awful tonight. This is a team they should never have come in to Mile High and beaten the Broncos. The Colts, one of the worst teams in the league. There's going to be some things happening here in the next few weeks, guys. There has to be. We can't keep going on like this. We'll be back in a few minutes with live interviews from the locker room and hopefully Russell Wilson in the interview room coming up later.
Yeah, a lot of head shaking going on tonight. Thank you. Now, we always want to hear from you. You had plenty to say tonight. Our Broncos voicemail hotline, it's open. Your responses have been coming in all night long. Listen.
Thanks for calling our Denver 7 Broncos voicemail hotline. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Hey, wake me up when the offense scores a touchdown. I'm going to go back to bed.
This game is a snooze fest. An embarrassment.
Broncos had their big chance. They're on prime time already a couple times, and it's just been pathetic.
I think the offense needs to get their heads together, and Wilson needs to start going right.
Okay, it hurts, but it's the truth, and we want to keep getting your comments, so just please send them in. We just might play your takes on the air tomorrow morning. That phone number, 303-832-0111.
And those are the ones we could play publicly. Denver 7 will once again be your home for the Broncos when their next game happens. They travel to L.A. and take on the Chargers, and well, we'll see what they look like then. Now, that game is October 17th. That's Monday Night Football. Kickoff one more time at 6:15. Coming up tonight at 10, there is big money to be won on sports betting.
Why do you think Colorado bettors are doing better than bettors in other states?
Coloradans are cashing in.
I'm Tony Kowalewski. We've been diving into the data, how much money you're spending on sports betting. And we'll take you to the sport you probably don't think people are betting on.
Plus, setting the stage to decriminalize marijuana nationwide.
This is the first time we have seen from the White House, from this level of politician, that, you know what, we are ready to start the process of legalization.
But in Colorado, some obstacles still remain. How the president's decision can impact offenses in our state.
This goes a long way in fixing a lot of the issues that we have been dealing with.